Hello, this is University Time News, a program about the most interesting and exciting events of Russia's oil and gas university and companies. At the UTime studio is Eugene Tour. In today's issue, Reindeer Heritage Day. Gazprom Dobycha Nadim company showed support for northern people's traditions. From overseas to Ukhta and back, USTU officials have signed a protocol on cooperation with one of the universities in Serbia. Issues associated with global warming and permafrost. NArFU held Arctic Days. Bashneft company, UFA fuel quality preservation. 70-year anniversary of higher maritime education in the Far East. Maritime State University. The beginning of spring is celebrated differently everywhere. In Nadim, it is celebrated in the form of a great holiday named the Reindeer Heritage Day, which attracted herders, and not only from many Russian regions. Representatives of indigenous people compete in traditional sports activities such as throwing of the titan at ferrets, the national struggle, national triple jump, tug-of-war, and ski relay. Representative Gazprom Dobycha Nadim did not shy away from this holiday celebration. Representatives of all flags came to visit us only for a few days, only once a year at the end of the winter. Reindeer herders are usually scattered across the tundra thousands of kilometers away from each other. From Ural to Yamal regions, they come here to get together. For the 19th time, Nadim held the largest ethnic festival in the region. And as usual, all of the attention captures the district reindeer herder competition, the Yamal Governor Cup. In the morning, Nadim locals, guests from Finland, Great Britain, Moscow, Tomsk, Orenburg, Tyumen, and Novosibirsk went to Strizheva Boulevard. First participants had already been competing there. There was the Throne of Titans at the ferret competition in progress. This is probably one of the calmest national sports. Fanfare sounds opened the festival solemnly, and here were the 9 teams that included 160 participants from different regions. Once again, Nadim Land welcomes the competitors. Everything points to a very warm welcome. The fighting spirit, the beautiful, wonderful weather, and good-natured hospital Nadim residents. I would like to give a special thanks to the herders and the competitors because this winter was not easy for them. But they found the strength together for this holiday, with almost the same members in the 9 teams. Thank you very much and lots of health to you, dear. A meaningful moment. Last year's winners, Panaev's herders, raised the competition flag. Everyone's mood is that's high. Everyone's motto is the same. Yamalians, let's prove that we know how to win. At the Northern Arctic Federal University, the winter ended in Days of the Arctic. The main goal of the Days of the Arctic is to draw public attention to the problems of global warming, to the issues of environment and education in the Arctic region, and to exchange experience with foreign partners. Our correspondent will tell you more about the scientific points of view and interesting ideas related to permafrost. Days of the Arctic were held at the Northern Arctic Federal University named after Mikhail Lomonosov from 24th to 28th of February. Arctic Week opened an exhibition, Ice Fairy Tale, which presented work based on the Nenets and Sami legends, as well as tales from northern writer Stefan Pisahov. On the very first day, there were already 2 lectures given by foreign experts. Honorary British Consul of Alaska, Professor of the University of Alaska, Anchorage, Didi Hitchens presented 2 topics, the U.S. role of the Arctic Council and history of the association joining the United States. Western Washington University professor Douglas North gave a lecture on management of the Arctic Council and the result estimation of the Swedish presidency in 2011 to 2013. However, the highlight of the Arctic Days at NArFU was the first international student winter school model of the Arctic Council. Students from Russia, USA, Canada, Norway, Sweden, UK, Indonesia, and Thailand participated in the project. In the form of role-playing, students acted as work and expert groups, participated in meetings as senior officials, and held conferences. As minister discussed issues that have the potential to end up on the Arctic Council action agenda. Also, there were open expert lectures on the Arctic issues that were held along with the International Winter School within the Days of the Arctic. Bruno Viana, Arctic Research Center representative of France, spoke about the relationship between France and Moscow during the raid of Henry IV at the NArFU library. An honorary Russian polar hero, Mikhail Malakhov, spoke to the NArFU students about Arctic, Antarctic, and Alaskan research achievements of more than 40 years. It's great that the university pays a lot of attention to these topics, regularly hosts various forums, and conducts research study with access to the project. Also, the fact that we are now at the level where the Arctic could be used not just for conduction of production operation, but for living together. I would even say for liberation. I believe that now is the moment when we should all put some thought into this. Besides the research activity, Mikhail Malakhov and his colleagues are actively involved in the popularization of Russian geographical discoveries. According to the results of collective travels, the enthusiasts created a series, a part of which was presented at the meeting and was devoted to the tragic death of Rufus Serebrennikov expedition on the river Mednaya in North America. We found the creek Rufus not far from the place of death of Russian expedition. We are sure that the stream is named after the Russian navigator Rufus Serebrennikov. Movie premieres provided by NArFU Arctic Bridge Media Center added to the cultural component of the Arctic Days. There were about 2 expeditions of Arctic Floating University in 2013. The participants of a photo contest were awarded at the premiere of the film The Way the Grass Grows. The contest was held at the Arkhangel Center of Russian Geographic Society within the Floating Arctic University project. On February 28th, on the last day of winter, the Arctic Day webinar was held at the Presidential Library, in which both Russian and foreign Arctic explorers took part in. Arctic Days is a very young holiday, but every year it attracts more and more public attention and allows to discuss problems and challenges related to the Arctic region countries. On the 5th of March, Ukhta State Technical University welcomed a delegation from Serbia. USTU scientists visited Serbia 6 months ago. University of Novi Sad vice-rector visited Ukhta with a follow-up trip. Currently, USTU has only 2 branches in Komi Republic. One is in Usinsk and another one in Vorkuta. Now everything points to the opening of another one in Serbia. More details in our follow-up story. Agreement signed between Nikolai Tzadaya and Rector of Serbian Technical University marked the first step in a long-term future cooperation. After the comparison of the curriculums, it was decided to focus on joint participation in scientific conferences, internships, and creation of joint exchange programs. We are planning to increase student, teacher, and young specialist mobility. I believe that this project will be interesting not only to Serbians, but also to many others throughout the region. Coordination of courses curriculum is to be completed in May. However, a return visit of Ukhta delegation is already planned for the end of April. In the future, we plan to open a USTU branch in the city of Zreznian. Astonishes the financial and technical base, available programs, and teachers. In other words, all that we saw here. Besides, very pleased to see the enormous desire for enthusiasm for cooperation which we saw from USTU faculty and staff. After signing the contract with USTU rector, foreign delegation headed to the city administration when the Ukhta Zreznian governor signed a mutual understanding agreement. I think that this cooperation will strengthen ties not only between our cities but also between our countries, and we will start building the bridge of friendship that Ukhta governor mentioned. Development and improvement of projects made for a good start for the spring. Bashneft company is rated as a top 10 enterprise of Russia in terms of oil production and top 5 in refining. It is known for paying special attention to product quality. You can find out how to keep up with scientific and technological progress without forgetting about environmental and labor safety from the following report. Bashneft Udmurtia company is one of the largest operators of fuel in the Udmurt Republic. It includes 44 gas stations, 2 oil deposits, 16 fuel tankers, and 8 fuel servicing trucks. 700 people work at this company. Regular customers of the company are about 75,000 car owners and 1,500 enterprises of Udmurtia. The company focuses on gasoline and diesel fuel sales. Gasoline is a flammable mixture of light hydrocarbons and pungent odors. Its approximate density is 0.75 grams per cubic centimeter. Fuel is sold at Bashneft Udmurtiev gas station, comes from Ufa refinery of joint-stocked oil company Bashneft. It is produced in compliance with all rules and regulations at an international standard Euro 4. Bashneft Udmurtia's main goal is to provide drivers with enough fuel while keeping up with the industry quality. What does company do to satisfy this goal? At the refineries, fuel is poured into a tank belonging to the plant. All tanks are regularly steamed in order to remove corrosion. Each tank is sealed at a factory and shipped by rail to the Bashneft Udmurtia tank terminal. The tank farm is a terminal for fuel and lubricants that consist of oil storage tanks. Bashneft Udmurtia owns 2 tank terminals. Total occupied area is more than 5.5 hectares. 18 tanks can simultaneously store up to 26 million liters of fuel. All the fuel being supplied to the tank terminal gets manufacturer quality plant certificate. However, before the fuel gets drained into the tank at oil terminal, samples for determination of quality lubrication are taken from the rail tank. At the site, tank terminal workers conduct a fuel analysis. Rail tanks get drained through separate pipelines. Each type of fuel gets its own pipeline at the tank terminal. For the convenience of employees, each of them has a different color. After the fuel gets drained to the tank, it gets supplied for lab analysis. 2 independent laboratories are involved in the analysis conduction. They are autonomous non-profit organization Oil Test Center and LLC Комплексная тематическая экспедиция. Based on the analysis, the laboratory issues a Bashneft Udmurtia oil testing protocol. The volumes of the tanks at Bashneft Udmurtia tank terminals are 3,000, 2,000 and 1,000 cubic meters. According to the requirements, the technical regulations, they should be cleaned once every 2 years. This is done in order to remove sulfur deposits from the tank walls. Sometimes they clean the tanks more often if the fuel needs to be replaced to be stored in another reservoir. At smaller companies, sometimes there are situations where, for example, 95th petrol is poured into a tank where 92 petrol was. Thus, there is a mixing of residues of 92nd and 95th petrol, which deteriorates 95th petrol quality. Such situations are excluded at Bashneft Udmurtia tank terminals. All operations of tanks terminals are carried out in compliance with operation rules of hazardous production facilities. This helps pay close attention to the environmental safety. The presence of ducts at the facility's water reservoir Malaya Purga since 2010 is a confirmation of ecological purity of tank terminals. Tank fuel is delivered from tank terminals to the gas stations by trucks. The transfer of fuel into a tanker is made through a tightly installed funnel. This excludes foreign matters or liquids from getting in. The volume of the fuel tank transferred into a tank corresponds to the nominal volume of the tank. There is a separate truck for each type of fuel. To ensure fuel quality and to eliminate the possibility of discharge along the route, each fuel truck is sealed. The motion of each gas tank truck is monitored by security officers and dispatchers using GPS navigators. Senior operators or their assistants receive the trucks at their stations. When arriving at the gas station, fuel tanker drivers ground the machines, and the operator checks for documents related to the delivery. Then the operator checks for the presence of official seals on the tanker discharge unit. The seals should contain a tank terminal's identification symbol on the terminal that last filled the fuel into the tanker. If all documents are in order, the fuel truck can be opened. After seeing the seals, the operator along with the driver breaks them. Then they measure the fuel amount in the tanker. Thereafter, using the sample unit, an operator takes a certain amount of fuel from the tanker for testing, while water-sensitive paste is applied to the lower portion of the sampler. Water-sensitive paste is designed for wastewater detection in the tank with oil or oil products. Paste is a plastic, stringy, greasy product. When it comes in contact with water, the paste changes color to a bright red. For a few seconds, the sampler unit is lowered into the bottom of the tanker. After the sampler is removed, first they look at the color of the paste. If the paste does not change its color, then there is no water. Then the hydrometer measures the density and the temperature of the fuel by being dunked into the vessel containing gasoline. After this, they check for petrol transparency and color. If all values are normal, then flushing technology is connected. The operator oversees the flushing technology connection to a reservoir to avoid flue leakage. Thereafter, it gets drained into the tank. After it has been drained, the operator seals the fuel truck and registers the number of fuel in the journal. Fuel from each tank is given its own separate line, which branches out and connects to each gas pump. Despite the fact that all the tanks for fuel storage are closed tightly, it is impossible to avoid the presence of condensation due to temperature differences between the outside air and that in the reservoir. Due to this, there is water waste that settles at the bottom. If the water level reaches a certain mark, a special sensor, which will set off the operator's signal, immediately activates. An operator informs metrology and lubricant quality function specialists for further action for water removal. It should be noted that the pipe for supplying fuel to this gas pump does not reach the bottom of the tank. Thus, water or mechanical parts in the fuel tank of a vehicle is excluded. Besides, this multi-level filtration system prevents foreign objects from getting in. Planned tank cleanings at gas stations are also conducted every 2 years by a specialized organization. Unplanned cleanings associated with the change of realized fuel are possible as well. For example, if at a given gas station they were selling normal 80 gasoline and then decided to replace it with petrol 98, the tank will have to be cleaned first to prevent different fuels from mixing in. Scholarship competition established by Vladimir Potanin took place at the North Caucasian Federal University. Each scholar was given an opportunity to participate in Potanin Foundation summer and winter schools, to prepare their own project, and to receive monthly financial aid of 5,000 rubles. Our crew found out who passed this rigorous selection and will receive the award for this project. NCFU students once again proved to be the best. There was an award ceremony at NCFU Academic Council Hall. The most talented and active students distinguished themselves at the rigorous all-Russian competition. The main heroes of the day were the students who successfully passed the competitive section of Vladimir Potanin Charity Foundation. 7 NCFU master's degree students were among the lucky ones, as well as 7 from Lomonosov Moscow State University. NCFU is an undisputed leader of the number of winners of the Russian South. To each of the students, a victory in this contest became an important personal achievement. The main goal of my final year at the university was to become a 3-time winner of Potanin Scholarship. So I'm very happy. I did it and it's great. Not only distinguished students accepted congratulations at the academic council meeting, but NCFU professors were awarded academic degrees and titles as well. In her opening speech, rector of the university, Alina Yakovleva, noted that the number of PhDs at the university is ahead of the other federal university of the country and exceeds the accreditation rate by 17%. In our last issue, we talked about real men of Titan Company Group. It should be noted that women of the company are just as remarkable. In honor of International Women's Day, some stories about women, wise, intelligent, and gentle, that Titan is proud of in our following story. It seems to be the last year's trend that most of the time I spend in hotels on business trips and not in my native Omsk. They're working all the time. I graduated from a chemistry department. First I studied in college, then institute. They study and conduct research. We choose our own path, but sometimes faith leads us to the path. They're wise and beautiful. They are beautiful women. Elena Frank is a quality engineer of Omsk polypropylene plant, a young specialist. She has been working at a factory for less than a year. Being a freshman, she immediately noticed the main advantage of the team she joined. We've got really good, kind, responsible, friendly, and gentle men who are always ready to help and give advice. They always open doors and offer a hand when we got off the bus. It is a pleasure to make a career in such an atmosphere, says Elena. It is important not to forget that we are women before anything else. I still have enough time for my personal life, so my job does not interfere with it. When work demands high level of responsibility for subordinates and for company finances, then female wisdom comes in handy. CFO Svetlana Titova compares her career with a Cinderella story. For 5 years, a mathematician by training, Svetlana Iosifovna became a leading specialist of banking, being just a messenger from the very beginning. In the past 4 years, she has been representing the interests of international companies on a global level. Even when I'm not near them, I understand what they do and how they do it. Plus, we have meetings on the issues at least once a week. According to the CFO, the secret of successful career is self-development and personal growth of subordinates. So the main career goal is not always the main chair of the top manager. The main thing is the internal comfort and the sense of freedom. People who suppress their desires are unlikely to be happy. Those our family members also enjoy watching their loved ones once realize their dream. If we talk in general about the achievements in life, the greatest achievement which I determined for myself is my children and my internal sense of freedom. Some men think that when a woman comes to workplace, she is not a woman anymore, but just a colleague. I'm an electrician, and they are electricians as well, with the same job title. Most of them, of course, will not let me pick up anything heavy, but men are different. Right now, I have a young team, so of course they're very respectful and attentive to things like that. Nadezhda Lukinishna, self-proclaimed seasoned veteran. The governmental diploma and almost 40 years of experience confirm that. She has seen different men and women in her day. I believe girls should be more tolerant to their men because they are also very different. Somewhere we can even help them. We can also turn a blind eye to some things. It seems to us that they are very strong, but actually somewhere inside they are also fragile and can also be broken without careful attention. From the beginning of time, women were able to inspire men to great things through their love, faith and hope. While there are wonderful women, noble men will be there too. I think all of our women beautiful and charming. They are all gorgeous, and I wish them all the best. Lovely, charming, and we love them. Feminine, charming, lovely, amazing, just very nice girl. We are so proud of them. On the March 5th, Maritime University, named after Admiral Nevelsky, celebrated its 70th anniversary of higher maritime education in the Far East. On this day, in 1944, Vladivostok Maritime College was awarded the status of a higher education institution, which determined the university development, marine science and maritime transport industry in the Far East in general. For 70 years, starting with several maritime professions, much indeed has been achieved. Today, the university has more than 60 programs of higher professional education. More than 6,000 cadets and students, including foreign students, are trained here. As you know, any educational institution always evaluates its graduates. And MSU, named after Nevelsky diplomas, are always in demand. Over 70 years, thousands of maritime professionals, amongst whom are the famous captains, chiefs of ports, shipbuilding company directors, ministers and heads of various tanks, graduated from Maritime University. Today, it is one of the largest research educational centers of the Far East, as well as the business card of maritime professional education of Russia. This is all for today. UTimeNews team wishes everyone lots of help. Watch University Time News online. With you at the studio was Eugene Tour. See you in our next broadcast.